From the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. Nice looking, beautiful looking, really, Monday. Look at that beautiful blue sky, right?
Gorgeous.
Remember Hurricane Irma?
Yes, I do.
That was the end of 2017, right? Or fall of 2017?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Our next guest has written a book, and Hurricane Irma is mentioned in it. Right?
Yes.
Am I remembering right? Okay. Silver Goodbye is the name of the book. It's written by our guest, John H. Cunningham. He served as the editor of the Pro Review, a magazine for professional photographers. He's a pilot, so you maybe you heard that last ad. Maybe you appreciated that. He's an avid traveler and island hopper. Did I hear you say he's in Keys right now?
Yes, Key West.
And his book actually takes place, part of it in the Keys, but I think the part that really grabbed me when I read the synopsis, I didn't read the whole book, was that this is like somebody you've always felt like you knew. Turned out they had a past that you didn't know about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I love this book.
That is amazing that you can put a book out so soon. I always thought it took forever to write a book. John Cunningham, good morning, John. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Good morning, Larry. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're in good company. There's a few authors we've had on the air who write really astounding books. Maybe while you're, not authors, pilots. Maybe when you're flying, the ideas come to you or something. I don't know, right?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was just started book 8 in the series last week, flying on an airplane down from New York.
Is that right?
Oh, my.
So like some people get ideas in the shower, which don't, a shower is done in 10 minutes, but flying, you're up there a long time.
Yeah, you're up there a long time. It actually takes quite a while to pull all the ideas together into kind of a harmonious story, but that actually came together last week at all my notes, and I started writing a couple chapters in the next book.
Is that right? Wow, it's fascinating how you do what you do. But I want to be fair to the book, so tell me, Silver Goodbye. This is part of a series?
Yeah, Silver Goodbye is the 7th and newest book in the Buck Riley Adventure series. And that one, as you said, takes place almost entirely in Key West, before, during, and immediately after Hurricane Irma.
Were you down there during Irma?
I was here the week before. We have a house here, and we didn't even know the hurricane was coming. Left the week before. Left my daughter and her fiancé here. They buttoned it up for us, and we actually had friends stay in the house because it was a little more secure than where they may have been. And they wrote it out for us.
Oh, my gosh. Everything was okay, I hope, when you got back?
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty fortunate in Key West. We did not take near the damage that the Middle Keys took, so it was just a fraction of a millimeter on your radar screen, but a big difference here on the ground.
Yeah, we were going to go down for Fantasy Fest that year, for just to support what you do, not to see all the wacky stuff,
Of course not. Of course not.
You have intriguing characters in your book. I mean, Buck, and then there's Jade. I mean, they seem like from opposite sides of the track, but they have to get together to help each other.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Buck, I'd like to tell people Buck's an everyman protagonist who tends to follow his heart more than his brain, but he's surrounded by interesting characters. That was the first time Jade had appeared in the series, and I think she'll probably come back. But yeah, very different people, and you never quite know who's on whose side.
And I like that it's based on family also.
That's right. Well, you read the book, so you know that Buck's father was always known as a very famous Undersecretary of State, and he'd passed away 10 years ago, and Buck was going through some of his possessions and found some old notebooks from the 70s and 80s, which made him think, gee, his father might have been a drug smuggler in the Keys back then.
I often wonder if the Kennedys went through that. Did they know that Uncle Joe was, whatever he did?
They'll never tell, I'm sure.
So was there something that stimulated the idea as far as this storyline?
Well, again, so the Buck Riley series is based in Key West. He was a character who lost everything about 10 years ago. He had lost his company. He was a famous archaeologist, lost his wife, his family, all his money, and he moved to Key West with nothing more than an antique flying boat. So all the books start here and then typically go to other islands. That one, because I was so, impacted by Irma and what it did to our community and people in South Florida and throughout Florida, we actually dedicated the book to all that happening here.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
And I really enjoyed the fact about the a notebook with the handwritten notes that piqued Buck's attention.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about doing this, and why I really, like I said, it takes a while to plan out a book like this. I want to have a lot of clues and things, whether they're actual leads or false leads, that readers can kind of get enjoyment out of trying to put the pieces together as well. So we had a couple maps, handwritten maps, that he had one and Jade had one, and they finally had to get together and share, and it led them to a major clue.
And there's always a bad guy trying to thwart the good guys.
Those bad guys are always right around the corner, aren't they?
I often wonder if we're going to be able to leave that kind of clue, those kinds of clues for our progeny, our children and children's children, because we're doing everything electronic now. If you don't put it on paper, how are they ever going to find it?
Yeah, no, that's very true. It's hard. I mean, people, even with photographs and everything, people just take zillions. And I was trying to pull up some photos from the 70s. I actually lived in the Keys in the 70s, and I have a handful of photos from back then that my kids and friends love to take a look at. And like, wow, that was you? Yeah.
I think your title, Silver Goodbye, had more than one meaning.
It did. Well, actually, all of the names of the Buck Riley series have a color in it, and I kind of pay homage to John D. McDonald and his Travis McGee series, because he's really the father of all Florida fiction when it comes to that type of book. And so Silver Goodbye, people probably had a hard time finding the silver, but it was pretty material at the end of the book on what it meant.
Yeah, you did a most excellent job. It's one I couldn't put down. It's amazing.
You're getting really good reviews on Amazon. I see 5-star reviews, and I have a copy of the book, so let me give this one away. If I have a listener who would like it, just call me. So I'm going to recommend Amazon, but do you have a different website you want to direct us to?
Sure. You can also learn more about the entire series and me on my website, which is jhcunningham.com. And, the book is sold through bookstores throughout the Keys, like U.S. Allen Bookstore. But I certainly encourage you to look at the website or on Amazon. Yeah, I think I've got well over a couple thousand reviews on the series themselves, all averaging between 4 and 5 stars.
Some of the funnest parts is that you've got the ancient flying boat, and it's always fun for me that there's nothing, not a new model or anything like that. The characters always embrace the old rickety things.
Yeah, well, Buck, as I said, he's lost everything, and his brother bought him that boat. His brother inherited all his parents' wealth, which is part of the storyline, and they have a kind of a tenuous relationship. So he bought him this antique airplane, and he started Last Resort Charter and Salvage, which he runs out of the La Concha Hotel here in Key West. And even when he finds a little money, it goes back into fixing the airplane, and that's just part of his personality.
And does that Is that part of your personality also? Because it seems like you would enjoy that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I wrote a number of books before I started this series, and one thing, one kind of maxim in writing is write what you know and love. So I came back to the Keys and always loved aviation and island hopping and really kind of being the everyman, because, as I say, Buck doesn't have secret agent skills, the government bailing him out, a lot of money. It's really up to him, his grit and his determination and his colorful friends. And I think that really connects with most readers, because none of us generally have that other stuff.
I agree.
I
agree. Very real.
Really prolific writer, by the way. He's a good-looking guy. Look at this, Rob. He looks like Miami Vice. Huh?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
All right, let me give the book away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Hi, this is Gene. Happy New Year.
Hey, Gene, you got it. I'll be waiting for you.
Thank you much.
You're welcome. And I noticed that Buck Riley has like a motif for a logo on all the books. You got kind of a theme there with all of the books that you've written with him as a main character.
Yeah, it's been fun to brand the Buck Riley series, and we do T-shirts and hats and koozie cups and things like that. It's a little bit like an Indiana Jones kind of feel in some ways.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to create that, and people identify with it, and they see that and they enjoy it. And people love that logo.
Do you know, and it's fun for us, too, that you're in Florida. I think 90% of the authors are either in New York or London, so it's fun to have an author actually here in Florida that's doing this. Thank you so much for being on the air with us today. That was fun.
No, thank you both for having me on The Source. Appreciate it, and I hope all the readers get the chance to check out the series.
Yeah, go to John H. Cunningham on his website. The book we just talked about, Silver Goodbye, but there's a whole load of books if you want to catch up on his work. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Larry. Take care.
We'll be right back.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. With President Trump sticking with his demand for border barriers